This is commentary for lesson 34 in the workbook of A Course in Miracles. I could see peace instead of this. So we begin in this first paragraph. The idea for today begins to describe the conditions that prevail in the other way of seeing. Peace of mind is clearly an internal matter. It must begin with your own thoughts and then extend outward. It is from your peace of mind that a peaceful perception of the world arises. Let's review from chapter 15 at the beginning. Chapter 15 is called The Holy Instant. And in this first section, it talks about the two uses of time. And it goes on to say, can you imagine what it means to have no cares, no worries, no anxieties, but merely to be perfectly calm and quiet all the time? Yet that is what time is for. So part of what is involved in this other way of seeing, I could see peace instead of this, is a change in purpose for things and a change in purpose of time. And so both the ego and the Holy Spirit use time. The ego is to convince you that that you are its ego, and the Holy Spirit's use of time is to convince you of who you really are: Spirit, God's child, God's creation. But now in the Holy Spirit's purpose, this is what time is for. No worries, no anxieties, to be perfectly calm. But that is what time is for, to learn just that and nothing more. God's teachers cannot be satisfied with his teaching until it constitutes all your learning. He has not fulfilled his teaching function until you have become such a consistent learner that you learn only of him. When this has happened, you will no longer need a teacher or time in which to learn. And so we're moving towards this place in where the Holy Spirit is our only teacher, and the perception of loving thoughts, peaceful thoughts, joyful thoughts inside is his goal. So going back to the lesson for today, there's a little teaching at the beginning of this before we talk about the practice, and that peace of mind is clearly an internal matter. It must begin with your own thoughts and then extend outward. And it's from your peace of mind that a peaceful perception of the world arises. So this is the idea that of no order of difficulty in miracles, that everything that seems to be happening in the world is a function of our thoughts, and that's where we have the power to change those thoughts, and that's what we're learning. And peace will be the product of that. And so from the Course's standpoint, it doesn't expect us to not have needs here that are not met, even though everything really is just a change of mind. If we leave our needs to the Holy Spirit, let him define what they actually are on this level, food, shelter, clothing. We just leave those into the Holy Spirit's hands, and we don't have to have any anxiety about them, and they will be met. We'll have to do our part in that, but they will be met. And having no anxiety about those things allows our mind to be free to search this peace. Okay, so peace of mind is the key here. So we go on to the practice instructions. 3 longer practice periods are required for today's exercise. 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening are advised, with an additional one to be undertaken at any time in between that seems most conducive to readiness. All applications should be done with your eyes closed. It's your inner world to which the applications of today's ideas should be made. Okay, so that's pretty familiar, and we're closing our eyes for this, and we're looking inside. So some 5 minutes of mind searching are required for each longer practice period. So this process of looking at our thoughts, searching the mind for fear thoughts, anxiety-provoking situations, offending personalities or events, or anything else about which you're harboring unloving thoughts. Okay, so this is key, that loving thoughts don't include these others. Love and fear does not go together. So any of these upsets means we have unloving thoughts. And when he talks about search your mind for fear thoughts, anxiety, provoking situations, all this list, remember that these are very, very specific situations. They have very specific contents. The anxiety has a specific circumstance, worried about money, offending personalities, very specific, the people that we're with. All of this specificity is really important. That's how the fear and unloving thoughts in our mind take form in very specific, concrete forms. So not in just a generalized way. So we want to deal with the specificity and then note them all casually, repeating the idea for today slowly as you go, slowly as you watch them arise in your mind, and let each one go to be replaced by the next. Okay. So so we want to deal with this specificity, but in this paragraph he's saying if you begin to experience difficulty in thinking of specific subjects, continue to repeat the idea to yourself in an unhurried manner without applying it to anything in particular. And then be sure, however, not to make any specific conclusions. So if nothing seems to be coming up, that's okay. Just repeat that idea in this quiet, peaceful way, making sure that we're not avoiding anything to apply it to, and not excluding that situation as being one in which it's our change of mind that will be the key to bringing us peace into it. Okay, so don't exclude anything, and just if nothing specific comes up, just repeating this idea in this quiet, unhurried way. So we're talking about the other legs of practice here. These are he's referring to here first the longer periods, one in the morning, one in the evening, and one in between. But now here's the frequent reminders are made throughout the day, repetition of the idea, I could see peace instead of this. And this is this practice on the fly, response to temptation, made whenever you feel your peace of mind is threatened in any way. So when those situations come up during the day, that's the time to practice. The purpose is to protect yourself from temptation throughout the day. If a specific form of temptation rises in your awareness, the exercise should take this form. So now we're getting very specific with that. This is where we can really learn, when the concrete forms of unloving thoughts come up, when it's very, very clear that there's something that seems to be the problem. That's when we can really practice. That's when the mind's really focused, and that's where we can do the learning. So I'm applying the idea, I can see peace in this situation, this personality, this anxiety about the future, this depression that I feel, whatever it is, anxieties, being very specific. I could see peace in this situation instead of my fears about the future and not having money or not being capable of working, all those things, very specific. So it goes on to say, if your inroads on your peace of mind take the form of more generalized adverse emotions, such as depression, anxiety, or worry, use the idea in its original form. All right, so we're talking about moods here. Feelings are specific, but being repressed, they coalesce, into a collection that causes a mood, depression, anxiety, and worry. And there doesn't seem to be anything specific about it, but we can still apply the idea to those. So he's going on to build up our determination here. If you find you need more than one application of today's idea to help you change your mind in any specific context, try to take several minutes and devote them to repeating the idea until you feel some sense of relief. It will help you if you tell yourself specifically, I can replace my feelings of depression, anxiety, worry, or my thoughts about the situation, personality, or event with peace. Okay, so this is firming up our determination here, right? Is not allowing our declaration of release, not allowing these thoughts to be driving the boat here, not allowing them to have power, our determination to that. And so if the purpose of time is to get us to this state of being worry-free and peaceful all the time. And if we're losing that peace, then remembering that purpose as being the most important, above all else I want to see, then we would be willing to say, okay, well, I really need to deal with this. I really need to sit down, stop what I'm doing, stop the flow of activity, and recognize that this is an important moment right now. I can practice. I can really do some real learning if I deal with this specifically, and then be willing to put the time into it. And telling yourself, I can replace my feelings of depression, anxiety, or worry. I can do this. So I just want to go back up to the top here. And I want to look at the language here when he's describing the practice. It said, periods are required, and then the time of it is advised. Okay, so if we have a teacher, then those are the things that we really want to listen to. When the teacher's saying required, right, that's what we should do. That's what it's saying. This is what we need for our learning. And then advised is, okay, well, there's some freedom there. You use your judgment of what you think is best, just making sure that it's a time when you're ready to do this, when you're not going to have a distraction. So these are key words to watch for in the instructions here. Okay, so all right, so I could see peace instead of this. And it might be helpful again to remember that the Holy Spirit's changed the purpose of time, and that will help motivate us when we realize what time is really about is getting to this place where we have no cares, no worries, no anxieties, but merely to be perfectly calm and quiet all the time. Okay, thanks. That's it for today.